What's going on, people? So, these Yeezys, right? These carbons, the new big thing. You know, they're all over the internet right now as far as YouTube reviews and all that stuff goes. So, the kind of good thing about that is that since these were released in a lot of stores and I had to wait on shipping for mine and all that, I don't really feel so rushed to get the review out there, which is cool. Because it doesn't put like pressure on you, but it makes you want to like hurry up and get it out there, especially if you happen to have it in the earlier stages as far as like releases go. It makes you want to get it out there early, so hopefully people will see it. But again, the whole thing that you got to remember is that just because you get something out there early doesn't necessarily mean your video is going to do better than anybody else's, because if your video sucks, it still sucks. It's just out there first. Anyways, hopefully this video doesn't suck, right? Because then it sucks and it's late, and that's just not a winning combination, people. But anyways, we got another box here that looks mildly easy to open, so let's go ahead and get on into that. Should be no problem. So there we go. All right, so here we go. Got this here, 350 box, as I said already, and then there you go. There's a side of that for people who are wondering what's on the side of it. Every now and then somebody, I think it's been the same person, will say like, oh, where are those shoes made? Because mine say this, or are mine fake? It's like, yeah, they're fake. They're totally fake. I don't freaking know, dude. Like, you can't always tell just by looking at a picture of a box if something is fake, right? Sometimes, if it's fake enough, sure. But, yeah, whatever. So, what does it say? Carbon, probably? No, it says Asriel, because that was the first name of these. But then they changed it to carbon for whatever reason. Just gonna put that over there. Yeah, then they changed it to carbon for whatever reason. I don't know what the deal was with that. Don't really care, honestly. I never care. But here we go. Got this one out. That one's looking pretty decent, so that's cool. Now we got this one here. This one's looking also, a little folded in for whatever reason, but looking fine. See, they went back to the original style as far as the stitching pattern goes. I don't have any of those other recent ones out because why would I? Otherwise, I'd do a comparison. But I can still at least do a review. So let's do that. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now review time on this right here, the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2 in the carbon, formerly known as Asriel colorway. So, there we go. We got these in hand, and now I can feel like I'm one of the cool kids, right? But anyways, let's go ahead and take a gander at these. We'll start with the bottom. How's that sound? So across the bottom, you have what you would expect to see if you've seen any other late or recent Yeezy review. So it's just your standard outsole, got a little bit of boost peeking through, and then you move to the midsole there, and what do you know? It's the same thing again. So there's that for you. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that's bad, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying it's the same, right? So take from that what you will. Now on the back, you do have a slight change in color, as is often the case. This one isn't so out there though, you know what I mean? Like from a distance, you might not notice it as much, but it's still there. So anyways, moving on past that, let's go ahead and talk about this upper, shall we? Because that's the thing that kind of matters to some extent, right? So you're looking at this, right? And you're thinking, okay, what colors are these this time, right? So I'm gonna say it's kind of like a purplish bluish sort of color going on in there. A lot of black, maybe a bit of beigeish gray, right? It's just a mix of colors in there as you would typically find. And then almost some sort of like, is it gunsmoke or gunmetal or whatever that color is, kind of around the sock liner. And then same with the laces. But again, we're not gonna get ahead of ourselves, even though we already did. So what you have here, right, as far as the stitching pattern goes, on the Isfurfils and the Zions, on the inside it was slightly different, and on the outside it was slightly different, in the midsection. This time they've gone back to what you've pretty much seen on, I want to say like the statics and everything up until about that point. So there's that for you with that split down the middle. So on these you do have a somewhat easier to see stitching pattern as far as like right there in the middle to split the shoe. Some people don't like that, some people do. I'm indifferent, kind of like how I'm indifferent to the pull tab that is on the back of some and not on the back of others. But anyway, so you've got that going on. You've got the standard stuff that you're pretty much expecting to see, right? It's a pretty cool little stitching pattern. I mean, I like it. Some people think it's getting a little old, but I mean, it's one of two looks that they have for this model, right? When they start doing V3s and 4s, maybe they'll start giving you some different looks. We'll see what happens. But as far as this one goes, it's looking pretty decent with like the color scheme that they used. So I'll give them a thumbs up for that, in my opinion. Now, moving past that, right? Onto those laces that we were talking about just a second ago. So these laces here, I don't know what it is about them, but they feel a little different. They feel more springy, more elasticy than normal ones do. I don't know if there was an extra pair in this box or not. I didn't notice one, but I wasn't really looking up. There it is. So they do have the standard laces in here as well, and they are the same color. Only difference being that they have these lace tips on there because they're normal laces. So if you like to be able to tie your shoes, there you go. You can cut this thing off and you can have that. But anyways, these laces, I think it's just because this is supposed to be a pull to tighten sort of system. So maybe that's where that comes in. But I think most people are probably just going to wear them like this anyway, because it's just easier and it makes more sense. But anyways, you've got the laces that match the sock liner. That's a pretty decent touch, I suppose, right? Got to have a little bit of color coordination in there. And that color, you're also going to see that down there on the insole as well, right? So there you have it. Pretty much just your standard Yeezy look. Very easy to do these reviews because not a whole lot changes. I just slipped some pictures in there. I mean, I could probably just do some color grading or something and then make it look like a totally different thing, because that's essentially what is happening. But anyways, there you have it. Pretty decent color layout in my opinion. How everybody else feels about it, they seem to like it, and it seemed to be pretty easy to get for a lot of people. I don't know if that means that a lot of people weren't going for it, or if there just happen to be that many of them, but these were definitely everywhere, and I don't recall seeing too many people say they didn't get through. So that's a good choice, or a good day for everybody. Now, as I was going to say, I think we are mostly done here. The only thing that I'll touch on just a little bit is it does have that strip down along the side, which you can kind of see through if you catch it from the right angle, or maybe you wear some bright enough socks or something. So you've got that thing going on. A little breathability in some kind of way, but again, it's still Primeknit, so it's a pretty breathable shoe all on its own already. But there's that. And then it does switch all the way back around, but it changes from being transparent to just being a solid stitching pattern. So there's that for you. But yeah, so I would say that we've pretty much covered this whole upper, and realistically, I could have just shown you a single picture and covered it, but we talked through it because this is a review and that's what I do, contrary to what some people think that just come in here, click to the comment section and ask stupid questions. And I say stupid questions because they're answered in the review. Anyways, speaking of, let's move ahead on to the next portion of this, which would obviously be the sizing and the on foot. So here's the thing, right? I am going to say that these are a true to size fit. And the reason I say that is because even though they are a bit snug, if you actually wear them a bit, they tend to stretch out just enough to give you a slightly more looser fit that's not as snug but still feels good, like not loose, you know what I'm saying? So that's my suggestion to anybody. Take whatever you buy in Air Max 90s or in maybe like an Ultra Boost, right? You got those. Whatever you're buying in your standard shoe, I would say buy these and that. If you happen to be one of those wider footed folks or whatever, head on over to McFly KOF's channel because he has a pair of these. He has a lot of Yeezys as well, right? And he's one of the wider footed folks, and he can give you his opinion of how that works. Now, moving on past the sizing, the comfort of these, right? A lot of people will say that these are super comfortable, and I would agree with that because they are super comfortable. Are they the best thing to get out there? I don't know, because then you got to factor in like, well, how much do they cost? Like, how much do you really like the look? Blah, blah, blah. Because I feel like they do look a little weird. But if you're just going for something comfortable and you don't care about anything else, yeah, These are definitely going to give you that, right? For sure. Nobody's going to argue it. So there you go. I don't have much else to say, so we're going to wrap this review up because I feel like it has gone on long enough for what we're talking about. Now, here's the thing, right? I know how this might sound as I'm talking about this and sounding maybe very underwhelmed, and in some ways I am because it's nothing new, but that doesn't necessarily mean I don't like it. I do actually like this color. I think it's pretty decent, right? But again, I just present these things in a certain way so as to not overhype anything and just give you some facts or at least opinions so that way you can kind of take that home, think about it, and make your own decision on if you want to pay for these later down the road, right? Or trade for them or whatever. But anyway, so you guys go ahead and do that. And while you're at it, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I have so much to do as far as this whole YouTube thing. It's like it all comes crashing down all at once, you know? It's crazy. I had this drought, which I enjoyed because I didn't have to do anything. And then box after box after box after box showed up. That's 4 times, right? So this is the last one. And actually one of those reviews was really, McFly will be doing it later. It was just me mailing a box to him. But either way, it's been a busy day. But it's almost done. So it'll get done that much faster if I wrap this video up. Later, people.